What's up, guys? Specstar here today with my draft recap for UNL Season 3. I am just getting this draft wrapped up, but it's not looking like there's going to be any snipes incoming, so I'm good to go ahead and record this video. And for those of you who don't know, UNL is my league. It is a points-based league, 120 points. You get 40 points worth of Z users. And I have just completed my draft, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I took and why. And as the draft's just wrapping up here, there should be a video coming out for week 1, probably within a week. And yeah, I look forward to getting some of those up. And starting off here, I had the 7th pick, and I was able to get Darkrai, which fell to me, and that was very exciting to me. Now, Darkrai is no Z. It is no plot, as it often is, and explains the 18-point price. But as you guys, if you've watched my MLBA run, know, I was able to use Z on that. I was able to use plot, and most of the time I just use neither anyway. So this Pokemon's role doesn't change too much for me with those limitations. I'm a big fan, if you guys have seen, big fan of Choice Specs Darkrai. Big fan of Choice Scarf Darkrai. Pokemon's still just a great way to spam dark offense, which is just very hard to wall. Great coverage, speed tiers really solid, and that about explains this Pokemon. I don't think I'm going to be getting too many questions about that pick. Number 7, it was actually my number 2. I probably would have took Aegislash above it, but that was about it. And next up here, I'm going to go ahead and take Toxapex. And the reason I took Toxapex here was pretty simple. Darkrai's got a lot of the speed and the offense covered. Now what I need is a Pokemon to back this thing up. Darkrai is weak to 3 types. It's weak to fighting, it's weak to bug, and it is... Is it just weak? My brain's farting. Weak to fighting, weak to bug, weak to fairy, and Toxapex takes all 3 of those on. Also gets up T-Spikes, which can be really nice for setting Darkrai up to clean in the end. I just thought these two would be a great pairing for my first 2 picks, and we'll see how they do. Now, after taking Pex, I went off and took Tapu Bulu, and Bulu pairs very well with Pex because Toxapex doesn't take much from much. It's weak to Electric, which Bulu takes on. It's weak to Psychic, which Darkrai takes on, and it is weak to Ground, which Tapu Bulu eradicates, for the most part. Most of the ground moves you're going to see are going to be Earthquake and Grassy Surge. What it does is it halves the power of Earthquake, halves the power of Magnitude, and halves the power of Bulldoze. So Toxapex loses a lot of the more powerful moves that it's weak to. So right there, my first 3 picks, I'm just trying to get a little bit of synergy, some switchability within the teams while still being able to keep offensive pressure on. Within those 3, there's not really a giant weakness I have, so I kind of had the freedom to go ahead and take value and then kind of look at my speed tiers and improving them there. And rounding off my Fire, Water, Grass core here is going to be Infernape, and Infernape for 14 points in the 4th round, pretty good value. And Infernape will be my first Z user. This Pokemon, of course, just has phenomenal coverage to use with Z. It helps with my speed tiers, gives me something that is going to make the 110s have to run Timid Nature, something between Darkrai and Bulu. A good thing to keep offensive pressure on. With U-Turn, it'll help me get Darkrai in. And I have Darkrai, which takes on its weakness to Psychic, and Pex takes on its weaknesses to Water, and Bulu takes on its weaknesses to Ground. So the team's pretty rounded out to give Nate the right opportunity to shine, and that's why I went and grabbed that Pokemon there. And next up here, I am going to take Mega Alakazam, and this is a Pokemon I've been wanting to use for a while. All that speed, all that power, this thing looks pretty damn fun to use, frankly. Thing hits like a truck and it is quick as hell. Trace is always a fun ability, and I've actually never drafted this Pokemon before, so I wanted to try it out. But also a lot of the Megas I did want were sniped, including Mega Scizor was sniped right before I took Infernape, and I would have took Mega Scizor there, so I did get sniped a little bit in my Mega, but I'm not unhappy to get Mega Alakazam. It gives me speed above Darkrai and makes my speed tiers very annoying for my opponents to deal with. We'll probably encounter a lot of Scarfers throughout this season, and I'm going to note this going into the game, which, forcing offensive mons to be Scarf makes things a lot easier for my boy Toxapex. And that's going to be that for this pick. Next up here, I'm going to go ahead and grab Mudsdale, and Mudsdale here, I wanted a good answer to Electric aside from Bulu. Mudsdale kind of fills that in. I wanted a good answer to Rock, which I didn't really have at this point, and I wanted another good Rock user because Infernape is not a mon I want to reliably have to keep putting Stealth Rock on. So Mudsdale is able to do that. And it's one of few ground types that isn't really hurt by grassy terrain. A, it gets a little bit of healing, and B, while Earthquake's weakened, I'm able to go ahead and put on high horsepower here, which is 95 power, 95 accuracy, and that'll get the job done. So Mudsdale's a good option here. Round 6, a little early to grab it, but there wasn't really a backup for me, another good ground type I could use that wasn't getting ruined by the terrain, so I wanted to make sure I went ahead and get Mudsdale. Plus, at this point, I didn't have very much for points, so I had to be very cautious with the way I was spending. After Mudsdale, I'm going to have 38 remaining points. So, I'll move on to my next 5 Pokemon here. And next up here, I've got Thundurus. Now, I was just talking about running out of points, but that didn't stop me from going out and grabbing Thundurus. Thundurus with Infernape just gives me a little bit of a Volt turn core, which is going to help me get Alakazam in. It's going to help me get Darkrai in. It's another option faster than 110s, which makes my team offensively a lot more annoying to deal with. Also, as a Defiant user, it's going to go ahead with this little crappy Webs user I'm going to talk about later that I picked up. And yeah, this is going to be Thundurus, and it is going to be my second Z user. And Thundurus, of course, just one of the premier Z users there are. Phenomenal coverage, pummeling, Sky Strike, all that fun stuff, all the hits. And this is a Pokemon that in the 7th round, very happy to still have available there. Part of why I couldn't resist the temptation to spend 16 of my remaining 38 points, leaving me with 22 left for the remaining whatever amount of mons I want in this league. There's not a minimum limit for Pokemon, only a maximum, which is 12. So I'm going to be left with 22 for what I want to do with the rest of my draft here. Next up, I'm going to go with Hitmonlee, and Hitmonlee is going to be a Z user, mostly just out of necessity. There weren't other options. I didn't want Z Escavalier, and Drampa, I guess, was an option, but not a great Z user. I'm probably not going to bring it to many games. Hitmonlee, Z user? Maybe not the best Z user, because this Pokemon has the ability Unburden, and it likes to make good use out of it. Reckless is another pretty good ability too, which makes this thing often want to use Scarf. And this thing, it's not a Pokemon that's going to want to use Z too often, but you really do have to prep for it differently with a Z, because it does have options. It has coverage, you know, it's got the Fire, Steel, Ground, Rock, Poison, all those hits. It's just something, another little bit of something you have to think about with this Pokemon. Now, I went out and grabbed Hitmonlee because my hazard control was crap. It was pretty damn garbage, and I didn't have a Pokemon that was really forcing the 100s to run Timid, run Jolly. So Hitmonlee helps me with my speed tiers, and it gives me some hazard control, so 2 birds, 1 stone, which made it, to me, an attractive choice at that spot. Now, next up here, I'm going to take a Escavalier, and I'm not a big Escavalier fan, I'm not going to lie about that. Not a Pokemon I would normally grab too often, but a lot of the steals I wanted were gone. Registeel was gone, the Blade was gone, a lot of the steals I was going to look at here are gone, so I kind of had to go for the B team of steel options, and that led me to a Escavalier. And Escavalier it's not the worst Pokemon, it's just not the most reliable thing because it's a bulky Pokemon that has a 4 times weakness, so I have got to play it very carefully despite its very solid bulk, 70, 105, 105. But it's a pretty reliable answer to physical attackers, at least one without fire coverage. It gives me another Pursuit Trapper, because Darkrai does learn it. Unfortunately, this may mean I'm not going to style on people with Pursuit Darkrai as much as I may like to, but I guess it's always nice to have that other Pursuit Trapper, especially when you got a Pursuit Boner like I do. Love that move. This Pokemon, not too much to say about it. Steel Sponge comes in, takes a lot of hits, usually physical hits. Sometimes it wants to run an Assault Vest with Pursuit. And for 7 points, it's just a little budget steel option for me after all the good steals went. So next up here, I'm gonna go ahead and grab Kricketune, the Pokemon with the beautiful mustache and the famous cry. This is just gonna be my Sticky Web user, the obligatory Sticky Web user that you pair when you grab that Defiant Thundurus. There's nothing much to say about it. Beautiful mustache, beautiful cry, and Sticky Web. It's not going to do anything aside from Sticky Web. I made it a Z user just because I had 2 Z points left. If I do use a Z move, it's going to be because I want to style on someone, which, that's a possibility. You never know. And I guess also another thing you can do, Z Sticky Web to go through Taunt. Just if I want to be really safe about getting them up and I don't need another Pokemon to use a Z move. So that's Kricketune here, and my last pick here is going to be Drampa, and it gives me my only Dragon type because I neglected to grab one earlier, mostly because I had so many value picks up there. Drampa, it's nothing too special. It is a dragon that can take hits and deal some out itself. It has pretty good coverage, fire coverage, grass coverage, electric coverage, can hit a lot of what dragon doesn't. One of the allures of this thing that did make it attractive to me was Sap Sipper, and Sap Sipper's a nice thing to have because my team is grassy terrain, so I'm able to, if my opponents try to take advantage of my terrain, I'm able to kind of abuse them here with that Sap Sipper. I want to make good use of Berserk too, getting them special attack boosts. I want to find a way to make that work because Drampa, this Pokemon, if it gets the right opportunity, it can take some chunks out. It can hit pretty damn hard. And that is going to be my team here. To recap it, I've got my Darkrai, my Toxapex, my Bulu, Z Infernape, Mega Alakazam, Mudsdale, Thundurus, Hitmonlee, Escavalier, Kricketune, and Drampa. Now, I'm pretty happy with how this draft turned out. I got a lot of Pokemon that I thought were great value picks, like round 7 Thundurus, round 4 Infernape, a nice strong core with Darkrai, Toxapex, Bulu. So I am optimistic about my season outlook, but let me know what you guys think about the team, what you guys predict for the season, anything like that, down in the comments section. And I recommend you guys hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for the season. I definitely do appreciate it. I want to thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a good night.